Hey everybody, Zach here. This is just a little intro to the video that you're about to watch. I just want to give you all a heads up that the audio quality unfortunately isn't the greatest in the video. I'm still sorting out through some of the issues with the platform that I'm using, but hopefully in the future I'll have it sorted all out. But I just want to say that I hope that you can look past the audio quality and look straight towards the value that that video brings. It was my second time shooting it, and I think that I just hit on so much good value in that video that I don't want to reshoot it again because I may miss some of the good points that I made in that video. So enjoy. Here's the video. Um, I'll try to make it not have that bad audio in the future. Thank you.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Builders Brotherhood for another episode. And today we're going to be talking about building the foundation for your business and how to build up your business. So, this is the second time shooting this video. Video quality and the audio quality was not good on the first take. So, we're going to give it another shot, guys. I'm not going to give you some bad quality. So, here we go. With building your construction company, I like to go by three different structures. And those different structures are going to be money, your systems, and your sales. So, and they're in that order of how you can take your business and you can turn it into something that you're proud of and that you can stand for, and you're not just going there every day and having a job. You want to be building a business for yourself and your family and all your employees, and you don't want to be living on the hamster wheel, because if you're on that hamster wheel right now and you want to get off of it, then this is the video for you. So, we're going to start off today with money. So, we're all in this business to make money, but we don't always make money. At the end of the year, you do your taxes and you realize I didn't make anything close to what I was hoping to make. I ran into a bunch of issues along the way, and I want to share some things that I've ran into that potentially can help you down the road. So, where are you losing your money? This is a very important part that I want to speak about. And there's so many ways in this industry that we all lose money. It's just absolutely slips through the cracks. I'm sure you see it. Um, and like I said, at the end of the year, you definitely see it. So, one huge way that we all lose money is with our employees. That's the easy thing to point out, easy person to blame. You can always just say, you guys aren't working hard enough. I bid this job this certain way, and you guys didn't meet that goal. So, we're not making the gross profit that we want to make. Well, that might be true. Maybe they're just not working hard enough, and potentially you need to do more training on your end. Make sure that everybody knows that there's procedures that you want to do for your business, and there's certain work ethic that you need. Or you need to maybe let go of some of those employees and move on to some other employees that are going to really just do the job better for you. And that's a tough reality to see sometimes, is that sometimes it's better just to let these people go. It gives them some life lessons. It lets you move on to being in a profitable business sometimes. And that's what we want. We're trying to build profitable businesses here. So, let's just say that you have some employees that you like them, they have a great attitude, but they're just not getting the work done the way that you want to, or you're having to do rework. So this is a huge way that we all lose money, and we like to kind of gloss over it. We put our blinders on to it, but rework costs a lot of money. Just think of something super as simple as trim. You go into a bedroom in a house that you're remodeling, and you look around, and Joe Schmo did the trim in this room, and it's just not to your quality standards, and if you have a warranty, which all you good quality businesses should have a warranty, if you walk in there and you see that the workmanship that's being put out there is not gonna live up to what you want for your client and for the warranty that you're providing to your client, then you're gonna have to redo it. Well, that's a lot of money. That's all the different material that you need to buy because you have to rip off the old material, and then it's all the labor that's involved in that, and that could add up to even just a simple room like that can add up to a couple $1,000 just to redo that. Poof, gone. That money's gone, and you didn't plan for that. That's one of those things that you don't plan for. And we're all gonna have to do rework. So I'm not saying that you're gonna eliminate this fully from your business. That's probably not realistic for most people in this industry, but you can take some steps to make sure that your projects are not involving a lot of rework. And so, one thing that you can do is have standard operating procedures for the company. If it's whatever business you're in, if you're in plumbing, electric, general contracting, whatever it is, just building these SOPs will give your employees that um, a good trajectory for success, and it will minimize it in the long run. This isn't going to be an overnight thing that you can change, but if you learn about it today, realize it, accept it, go through all the stages of grief, then you can come out on the other end and just get a little bit better every single day. And maybe a year from now, you'll be in a much better place because you took steps every single day to try to solve that issue with the rework and your employees. Moving on to some more money issues that a lot of companies have that I see all the time is your overhead is too big. You got way too much overhead for your company. Now, I know we all like to have nice things, and you need to have nice things to sell a vision to your client. So I'm not saying don't have nice things, but maybe there's some parts of the nice things that you have that you can start to whittle away at. Like, do you have a gigantic warehouse or a big showroom that really isn't even necessary? Do you get the value out of having these things? If you do, then that's great. Maybe that works for your business. If you're like a tile contractor and you have a bunch of different tile showcases in your showroom, well, that might be very well good for your business. I'm not saying don't have that, but I see too many times different contractors will have full-blown offices with warehouses in the back, and they don't even really ever have clients come to this space. Well, do you actually need all of this? Take a look at your business and see, do you actually need that? Everybody can work remotely now to a degree. Staples and other places allow you to rent out offices. If you want to have meetings with all your people in the office, that's totally fine in person. There's it's very different when you have a meeting with somebody in person. So I'm not saying get rid of the meetings either, but get creative about it. Say Wednesdays at 1 o'clock, we have meetings. Every Wednesday at 1 o'clock, there's going to be an hour or 2 hour meeting. We'll go rent a space for that. Rent it every Wednesday at 1 o'clock for 2 hours. I can guarantee you it's going to be a lot cheaper than owning or leasing an office. There's a lot of hidden expenses that are stuck in owning or leasing a building. So get creative with that. Try to find that aspect of your business where you can kind of shave away a couple of the dollars. And then maybe you have really souped up a fleet of vehicles. Well, maybe take a look at that. Do you really need everybody to have souped up F-350? Maybe not. Maybe you just need people to have a nice, uh, like a Ford Transit or something. And maybe you can get some sort of fleet deal with Ford or whatever company you want to use, and you can save a little bit of money there with having your guy, or take people off of that. Just have people use their own vehicles. But I wouldn't really advocate for that so much because you want to have representation of your company, and a good way to have that representation is just having vehicles lettered up with all your logos and the name of your business on the job sites. So you don't want to get too crazy with this aspect of it, but maybe there's some areas where you can just switch up the amount of money you're actually spending on your fleet of vehicles. Um, but then it's just like being able to manage this flow of cash is not easy. If you have like a mindset, you're coming from the field and you can see all the little aspects of a project where you're losing money, that's great. But there's a lot of other things that you got to be capable of doing or giving to somebody else. If you're going to be a business owner, you're going to have to be able to manage the flow of all the money coming in and out of your business. That's bills or POs, invoices, whatever it may be. You're going to have so much flowing in and out of the business that you got to keep track of it. Like even just receipts from local stores, like sometimes you're you're missing them, or people are spending too much money at them, and you just need to track them down. And this is a big job. That's why a lot of people hire out for this type of work, because you're the person who is owning the business, and you're supposed to be trying to build the business up, not working inside of it as an employee. You're trying to constantly build up the business. You got to get yourself off of the mindset of working in your business, and you got to work on your business, because that's your job as the owner, is to make the business better. You're not going to be making the business better if you're working in the business. If you're just stuck inside of the business and you're not devoting time and resources to things that are actually going to benefit the company on a grander scale, then it's going to hurt you in the long run. So if you want to take it upon yourself, or you already have taken upon yourself to start learning some of the things that it takes to do the accounting for your company, then by all means do that. If that's something that you just really want to have your hands on, I get it. It's the money coming in and out of the business. But if you have the structures in place, maybe you just want to hire somebody else, hire an accountant, a full-time employee that can actually track this. And when people in the field or other employees that you have questions, they can go right to the accountant for those answers, and you can remove a huge portion of that burden off your plate. So money is the core thing with the business that you need to get on top of, and that's why I put it as number 1, that you need to sit down, focus, figure out what's flowing in and out of the business, and get on top of it. It's paramount to the success of the business. So, we're gonna move on to the second aspect of this, and that is systems. And systems, you might think, "Well, why would I look at the money and look at the systems that I have before my sales?" Well, I'll tell you, there's a specific reason that I put these in this order, and it's gonna become clear to you once we get to the sales aspect of this. But let's go through the systems. So, systems can vary from company to company. There's not just one roadmap of how you need to structure your business, and the systems that you build inside of it are not going to be the same for every person. So, this is just going to be a basic foundational outline of things that you should think about when trying to structure the systems in your business. So, and something that you may wanna take upon yourself is to read some literature about how you can do it. One very easy read that, just kind of shines a light on the idea of building the systems is the E-Myth. I think it's by Robert Gerber or something like something Gerber. Um, but yeah, take that, just read that. It's not a hard book or a very long book, and it will give you a picture of it. But I'll give you at least a little roadmap here. So, when it comes to systems, it's something that you're going to have to be working on. Once you start doing it, you're not going to be able to stop, because the second that you, as the owner, stop following the systems or pushing the systems, is the beginning of the end of your systems then, because people are going to not want to take it seriously if you're not taking it seriously. And it's going to be constant for you. So let's just give you a little scenario. You have Joe Schmo carpenter working for your business, and he needs some sort of structure of what it is that he's doing for you. Now, we all know what a carpenter does, but what is he actually doing for you in your business? And um, I like to call it like a job description, is what you can call it, I guess. And you'll give that to all your employees, and you should give that to all your employees when you hire them and make them look at it and sign it and make sure that they understand that this is their duties for working for your company. And so you may have certain values inside this job description that are core values to your business. If it's the way that you speak to clients, if it's a no smoking policy or something like that, um, those things can be involved in here. But I would say more so you want to focus on the day to day tasks. And if that's being able to read and interpret blueprints, that's something that you want to instill into this person. We'll put that on the job description and make sure that they know that this is a requirement for the role. If you hand them a set of blueprints and you expect them to be able to read it, then they're signing up for that. If it's quality of workmanship, um, and if it's skill level of the workmanship, if you have like apprentices, journeymen, masters, whatever it is, if you want to create like a scale, well, you got to give them separate standards. You can't just have carpenter perform woodworking and give it to them. It needs to be digestible by your employees. And so, like, let's take an apprentice, for example. You may have simple things like assisting journeyman carpenter with framing details or something like that, or keeping job site in a orderly, maintained fashion. That would be like apprentice roles. So you can build these different job descriptions for each of your employees. And the best part about this is that there's an overarching accountability that comes along with this. So if they're not living up to the expectations of this job description that you've created, then you can hold them accountable. And when you do have a chat or something with them, you can bring this sheet and you can point out the things that you want them to improve on because they're not fulfilling the job requirements. And so if they try to give you pushback, like this is not what I signed up for, they can't because you created that job description. So the accountability aspect of it alone is super beneficial because you're going to weed out the employees that you don't want, and you're going to retain the employees and be able to mold the employees that you do want, and that's through this job description. Also, another thing that I touched on a little bit earlier was the um, standard operating procedures, SOPs. This is a system that you can instill into your company. And a good way to start it off is to have some sort of event for you and all your employees and show certain operating procedures that you want. So you can do mock ups of different scenarios that they're going to be running into in the field. If we're talking about just field employees here, well, take your best carpenter or foreman or whoever it is, or you yourself, and present in front of all of your employees the way that you want a certain thing done every single time. Unless there's certain scenarios that are a little bit tricky or weird, but just as an average, this is what you want done. And then you're instilling that into your employees, and then they know at that point that this is the standard for the company. And so this brings it back to that accountability, to where now you can hold people accountable. Be like, hey, we have standard operating procedures. Maybe do it in writing and somewhere that they can access it. If you have some sort of project management software or something like that, have it somewhere where they can access it. And if they're not fulfilling their job correctly to the company standards, well, then you can hold them accountable. Be like, hey, you remember that event that we had? And I showed you this is the way that I wanted it done. Why is it not done this way? And they may have a reason that makes sense because construction can get funky sometimes. But more often than not, I would say they're going to have to fall back to the aspect that they just weren't in the right mind space, or the job was really getting into them that day or something. But if you keep if you keep getting them on uh, this track where they realize that he's going to constantly be getting me for not following these procedures, so I might as well just follow these procedures because then he's going to stop bothering me. So the accountability is huge when it comes to all your systems, being able to hold everybody. So let's talk about maybe like office employees. You have like a certain way that you want people to email, a certain way you want them to talk through their emails to clients, the way that they deal with paperwork, and where it gets placed, and where's the copy, how the copier gets used, and who fills it, and every all these different things that you can actually put into some sort of format for people to access and understand. And with their job descriptions, you can delegate certain tasks to people and say, well, this is your role. You're the person that manages this inflow and outflow of paperwork or whatever it is. And if they are getting overwhelmed, or uh, they're not living up to those job requirements, then it warrants you to be able to have a conversation with them and come from a place of uh, you're just holding them accountable for the things that they signed up for. And it doesn't always have to be like a life or death thing. It could be just an honest conversation and push the person into growth into the position that you want them to be in, because not everybody's going to be the most prime example employee, and that's fine. That's totally fine. You got to be able to mold people into that position. So these things with the systems, they're very difficult to do. It's the same situation. It's not gonna happen overnight for you, and you're gonna have to invest a lot of energy into these things. But I can tell you, once you create them and start holding people accountable to these systems, then you're gonna see a dramatic change inside of your business. You're gonna be able to see the changing. You're building this machine basically that's just chugging along for you, and you're just the maintenance worker. You're just maintaining this machine, if we want to think of it on that type of level. And you'll start to realize that once you refine and hone in on different parts of the machine that aren't working, that's shooting oil out of the wrong spot, and you plug it and you patch that spot, and then it's running along again good. And then something else happens. There's a track is loose on the train track that you're going down, and you have to sit there and repair it. It's fine. That's going to happen with these systems that you're building. But you're going to reach a point finally where the train's just chugging along, and you're going to be able to like take a deep breath and be like, oh my God, everything's just working right now. What is happening? And it's because you built these systems that are running the business for you. And you're going to realize, oh my God, I can actually focus on the 100 other things that are on my list because I'm not getting a call every 10 minutes for some major emergency that's happening. Because we've all been there where your phone just will not stop ringing. You have a plan for the day, you have goals for the day, and you just get interrupted, interrupted, interrupted. I've been there, and I'm sure you've been there or are there. So this is the way to get out, but you're only going to be able to get out if you're just getting 1% better each time. You got to just get a little bit better each time. And then a year from now, 2 years from now, maybe even 5 years from now, you'll be able to reap what you have sown. That's what we're doing. We're sowing our seeds right now for the business. You're not seeing any value coming out of it, But then when it's harvest season, boom, you got a whole field of corn or whatever thing you want to analogize, and you're going to be able to off your shoulders. Really, that's what this is all about. Is just trying to relieve some stress because as a business owner, you're going to be pulling your hair out at some points, and you're going to get overwhelmed and think that this isn't for you. And sometimes business ownership isn't for everybody. It's just not. It's a really tough place to be, and if you don't have the mindset right for it, you're not going to be able to figure it out, unfortunately. So another system that I want to hint on here, we'll talk about it in future videos if we want to get deeper into the systems, but also like as far as um, contracting goes, and even just like smaller construction companies, if you're just like a specific trade, it will work for you as well. And it's being able to forecast out your company. So you, I'm sure you've are in this point or have been at this point where you're just going day by day. You're like, get the jobs are coming in, you're fulfilling those jobs, and then you're moving on to the next one. Well, let's try to look at it from a different perspective. Let's bring in all the jobs that we have, whatever it is, if it's 3 months out, if you're booked 2 years out, whatever it is, and let's put that out in the open onto some sort of schedule so that we can forecast our futures. Because if you're not forecasting your future, then you have no idea what your future is going to be. A forecasting of it is still just a guess, but at least it's more of an educated guess because you have actual verifiable things in front of you. And more often than not, you're going to get pretty close to your educated guess. And that's going to become reality if you're doing things right. So maybe get some sort of software if you want to use like a project management software or something like that. Um, and they'll have like scheduling parts to them to where you can actually like manipulate them and look at either like calendars or Gantt charts of your company. But maybe even just go down the route of like building your own Excel sheet and creating the formulas to where they all align for your company and be able to manipulate the different projects on this forecasted schedule. And that way, the reason I like the Excel version of this is because you can input the data and manipulate the data so easily. Like you can forecast your projects, and then you can even input the man or the labor hours that you're projecting to use for each week of that project. And that's going to change on a week to week basis. But you can at least forecast into the future, be like, hey, in June, I'm going to have 360 hours of labor that I need filled for each week for 4 weeks. It's going to be crazy. And you're sitting there in January and you're thinking about this, but it's January and you only on a weekly basis have 280, let's say, man hours. Well, what are you going to do? Well, now at least you got like 6 months to figure out what you're going to do. Am I going to hire more people, have them trained and ready to go by June so that we can fulfill these projects that are coming up? Are we going to have to sub out some of the work to other people, bring other people in and help fulfill this project? Whatever it is, how amazing is it that you're looking at it in January, 6 months in advance? You know this is coming down the road, and you're starting in January to figure out how you're going to manage that. I would say that's an educated guess. Instead of, oh, we just brought in all this work, we're going to push it into the summer and forgetting about it. Because so many people do that. You bring it, you sell all these jobs and you make all these promises to your clients. And then all of a sudden, you'll finally hit that point where you're like, oh my God, I made all these promises and I'm overwhelmed and we can't handle this as a company. and then you get a bad name, you tarnish your reputation. We don't wanna do that here. This is why I call this the builder's brotherhood. We're a brotherhood of people trying to build up our businesses together, and the only way that we're gonna be able to do that successfully is if we're all sharing our experiences and we're taking value from that, and so that's all I'm doing here is trying to share some value with you guys. I hope you can see the value in this and see the vision that the picture I'm trying to paint here of how valuable it is to be able to focus on your business. Like, imagine trying to even think about this stuff if you're, like, swinging a hammer every day. It's just like, it's fathomable. Sorry. I see so many contractors that work inside of their business. It's unbelievable, and I don't know how they do it. They must be, taking years off of their life, honestly, with the amount of stress that has to be involved in that. So I hope for all of you guys that you can actually get out of that and start to, like I said, every day just do one little thing. I'm not saying institute all these things at once. It's going to be a train wreck if you try to do that. Just get a little bit better every day. But you got to make those goals. So more on the systems. Forecasting, yes. We'll make more videos about that. I think you guys will all gather a lot of value from that stuff. But when it's on like a let's talk back about like more of like a here and now. Um, what can I do to manage some of the problems that I'm having? Well, let's think about doing like a weekly goals sheet or something. Like create weekly goals. Have the people that are working for you create their own weekly goals. How amazing would that be? That they're projecting out their week for whatever the project is, and they're creating the goals to fulfill what they need to do at the end of the week. If it becomes Friday and their goal was to finish framing, well, that's pretty clear. I need to be done with all the framing on Friday. Well, how am I going to make that happen? So on Monday, I have to do this. Tuesday, I have to do this. Wednesday, I have to do this, and so on. And that's going to reach my goal. So they can make that. That's pretty simple, but get a little bit deeper too. Institute some sort of labor hours into that. Your foremans on your job sites should be able to do this. That's a job description that they should have of being able to forecast out for their week of how much labor hours they need or labor time that they need to fulfill the goal for their week. They might to finish framing on Friday is great, and they need to do this, that, and this. But what if it's only one person and they need four people to actually make that goal a reality? Well, this is why we're creating these systems. We need to create this and get on top of it every single week because then you can start projecting out the weeks in front of you. You're not just projecting the week it's not Monday and you're like, okay, these are my goals for the next 4 days. No, let's get to like Tuesday or Wednesday and have a conversation about next week. We're already doing the goals for this week. We're done worrying about them. Let's worry about the goals for next week. And that could be a very good place for the company to be is where the employees are actually building their goals. And you're not always going to meet them, but at least it's in front of you. It's not just like you're showing up to the job site and you're like, okay, I'm just going to strap on my tool belt and start going. Well, where are you going? What's the goal? Like, are you gonna like maybe we have like a really strict goal. Like the plumbers are coming in next Monday. It's set. They're scheduled. It's their only opening. We have to have the framing done Friday. Well, if you're thinking about if or you're in the week prior to that week of framing and you're like, hey, we got a huge goal next week. I'm gonna need some manpower. Well, great. All right, let's pull three people from that job. They're having a little break over there that we can just leave like one or two guys over there. They don't need the whole crew, and we'll give the whole crew to you. Perfect. You solved the problem and you solved it the week before, not the day before or the day of. These systems are really going to work for you. And if you can institute it in your own way, it doesn't have to be just like a perfect roadmap for everybody. But being able to get on top of it and figure out what works for you, I think just taking those steps is going to be very beneficial. So I'm going to leave systems there and we can talk about them further in the future. But we're going to move on to the final aspect of this, and this is sales. Sales, sales, sales. The reason I put it last, there's a good reason I put it last, and that is that you're not going to be able to sell work for your business if you're not confident in the way your business is running. Do you get what I'm saying? You can't make promises that you're not fulfilling. So, a really juicy job comes across your desk. You're like, I really want to sell this. This is going to be great for the company. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get this job. So you go over to the client and you're trying to sell them the project and you make all these promises like, yeah, we're going to have the whole crew here for your project. We're going to have it done in a short period of time. It's going to look flawless. There's going to be no punch list, whatever it is. But in the back of your head, you're like, yeah, that's not going to happen. That's so unfaithful to your clients. We should not be doing that to people. That's so unfair to them, especially if you're charging a good amount of money for your work, which you should be. If you're a professional and you've built systems, you got your money in track, and your business is thriving and you're giving people exceptional workmanship, then you you can't be selling these jobs to people and not fulfilling it. I'm just going to say it. I mean, it's unfair to these people. They spend a lot of money to just have this work done. It's not cheap to have construction done on your house or your business, whatever it may be. And you can't just like give people promises and not fulfill them. So that's why I put sales last is that you got to get on top of your money and your systems. Because what if you did? Let's just say your money's flowing really well, you're feeling good, everything's in order, your systems are starting to ramp up, they're working, the people are working together good, they're meeting their goals, you're forecasting out projects, and we're actually meeting deadlines, we're actually starting jobs when we promise people to start jobs. Well, now look at yourself. I bet you'd go into that, sales meeting or whatever it is with so much confidence. You'd be able to sell these people like it's nothing. You'd be able to actually give them promises, and you're gonna sound so confident doing it because you know you're actually gonna be able to fulfill on it. And not only that, you're gonna be able to charge a bunch of money for it too because you're a dime a dozen. Like, you're gonna be the one person that stands out amongst the crowd. And so people are going to start seeking you out, even though that you cost a lot of money. They're going to want to work with you because you have exceptional reviews. They've told their friends and their family that you delivered on everything that you promised. And whatever your gross profit goals are and that works for you, that's fine. But let's say you want to shoot for like 50% gross profit on your projects. Well, you're going to have to deliver some really exceptional work and promise a lot of things to people to be able to get 50% gross profit because you're going to have to charge a lot of money for your work. And this might be a reason for you to increase what your gross profit is right now. Maybe it's in the gutter. Maybe you're only making like 15% gross profit on your projects. And it's a struggle to keep the business going because you have a massive amount of overhead and you're losing money because people are making mistakes on the projects. Well, if you get all these things in order and you're feeling very confident about what you're doing, well, now you can increase the price. Not only are you going to get a higher gross profit because your systems are running well and you're tracking the money super well, but and that's going to increase the GP, but you can just charge more money. You can charge more money on top of that as well. So let's say you're getting the 15% gross profit and you got your systems in order and the money in order, and now you're making like 30% gross profit. You doubled your profit because of just like looking at the cracks in your company and just figuring out those problems, and you're still selling the jobs all exactly the same. Well, then just think now you're running so efficiently that you can actually increase the price of your work. Well, 50% gross profit doesn't seem too far in the distance now, does it? Because you're only 20% away. It's very reasonable for you to get to that point, and it's because you did all those things that we talked about earlier in the video. So, I just wanted to kind of do a basic foundation for building your business, and we can go deeper into each aspect of this and have conversations about how we can tweak things in your business and make them work for you. But please, to do a little bit of housekeeping here, please subscribe to the channel. Please like the video if you're getting value from this. I'm trying to deliver a lot of value to people who are watching this. Um, and I hope that I'm actually delivering on that. If I am, then please just send it back my way. Subscribe to the channel, like the videos, and even share them with other people that you think could get value from this. Trying to build like a community here to where we can all build each other up. And the only way that I'm going to be able to do that is with the support of you guys out there. So I'm just asking, and I've even waited to the end of the video to do the little bit of housekeeping because I value giving you guys value. I think that's the most important thing first is to give you people the value. So please just do those couple things for me, and this channel can move forward, and we can all move forward together. So, like I said, start to try to build these systems, start to find the cracks and where the money's slipping out, and then start selling the jobs better for more money. I'm gonna leave it on that, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.